This is singularly the most important broadcast you will hear in the next 24 hours because of how many times Nancy Pelosi changed her position today. I was literally taping and then she changed her position. I tape and she changed her position. And I know it sounds very confusing. The good news is that everyone is done talking. They've closed their mouth. So I can finally tape in peace. And I have the entire update for you tonight. The only bad news is it's going to take 2 recordings. So it's going to be this one in Purple Power with incredible breaking news. Only right here on Evenings LALATE. Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Evenings LALATE with shocking, exclusive, and breaking details about what's going on tonight in the second stimulus package. I know it's very confusing to you, a lot of twists and turns, a lot of confusing remarks that seem contradictory just 2 hours earlier, but that's Nancy Pelosi. And I'm here to make everything very complicated seem very simplistic and very easy to digest, which I can do for you. It's an incredible night, and the power of the purple has absolutely come to the forefront, and it's absolutely categorically because of this channel that Nancy Pelosi is running left and right. You have her on the run, and absolutely incredible job doing it. So let's go to the Finance channel, subscribe, because no one is going to do anything like this except this channel and you. You have absolutely been categorically incredible, and you should absolutely be so proud of yourself. Also, like this video. This is going to be the first of a 2-part special. Coming up after this is Purple Power, which will explain to you more about what we have to do in the next 24 hours, because everything that you have been doing is why she's like literally running amok. Let me get to the incredible details right now. This is the breaking news. To deliver you the breaking news, I have to back up and have you understand where we were and how we got here, because I don't want to just give you where we are tonight, because it wouldn't make any sense. Several months ago, Nancy Pelosi introduced a bill called the HEROES Act, a bloated $3+ trillion bill. At the same time, shortly thereafter, Mitch McConnell introduced a very slender bill called the HEALS Act that did much of nothing. And during that period of time, she and Steve Mnuchin and Mark Meadows, who she really didn't want in the room, had 2 weeks of negotiations on weekdays to try to get it done, a negotiation deal. The parties, for reasons we never understood to this very day, designated just 2 people, Steve Mnuchin on behalf of the Republicans and Nancy Pelosi on behalf of the Democrats, to negotiate a second stimulus package. They didn't get it done. So the end result by late July was a very good deal from Steve Mnuchin, which I'll go over in a second, that would have given you thousands and thousands of dollars already in your bank account. She rejected it, and she said, don't come back to me unless you have a better offer. Well, no one came back to her. And that strategy didn't work. And her strategy was that America was going to buy into whatever she was selling, and that she was going to flip the Senate from Republican to Democrat. That was then. In the recent days, there was a final push, and the final push came because of you. It came because of the problem solvers, you, the Blue Dogs, and the Doomed Democrat Coalition, which said enough is enough, Nancy. You can't keep on doing this. It looks foolish. You can't stay at a $3 trillion bill amidst channels like this one, which was calling out her ridiculous $951 billion 3-year grant to states of New York and California. So she went back to her group, her caucus, and kept on talking about how everyone's so aligned, which they were not, and came out with a new bill. And she did that after the problem solvers, a group of Republicans and Democrats in both the House and the Senate, had introduced a $1.5 trillion bill. And the bill was categorically incredible. That was over a week ago. And the president at the time says, I'll support it. The Republicans, some of them said it's a little bit high, but they didn't say they wouldn't support it. They said it's really pushing it. Well, Nancy Pelosi says, I reject that bill. Causing us to wonder, what does that mean, reject? Well, I taught you that means much of nothing. It means don't accept their bill, do my bill. And so over the next few days, which became then 2 weeks, we pushed with a with a movement which I had created called Purple Power. In creating Purple Power, I said, hey, we need a bipartisan effort to get a second stimulus package so you get a stimulus check in your hand, FPUC and all those things. And in creating Purple Power, I said, hey, there's Republicans and Democrats watching this channel, but we don't agree upon elected officials not giving a stimulus check. And purple means blue plus red equals purple. So in creating Purple Power, we continued to push. And I said, make it clear that people should not support her bill, that they should support the problem solvers bill. Well, the day started categorically, insanely incredible. As Steve Mnuchin said, you know what? I have been talking with Nancy Pelosi over recent days, but he made very clear he had not agreed to anything she had said. There were several reports that said he was excited, he was giddy, no, but he also said I had not agreed to her bill. I just listened to it. He listened to her offers. And her offer in her bill, which she debuted on Monday, was exactly the same bill which she had left with orally, verbally, in their negotiations in July. All she had done from July to now was put what she had said in July, don't come back to me unless you have exactly this, what I'm orally telling you. She put it to paper. It was no compromise. It was not bipartisan. It was no movement by her. It was the same exact thing that she had said, don't come back to me unless you give me this. Well, that was her strategy. And this morning started with incredible great news. After a 2-week effort of this channel, tweeting and tweeting and tweeting, reject Nancy Pelosi's offer of 2.2 when it comes out. Reject it. Adopt the problem solvers bill. Adopt the problem solvers. Support the problem solvers. Support the Blue Dogs. Support the new Democrat coalition. Well, the Blue Dogs issued a press release on Tuesday and sent it to a member of the Purple Power family that we support the problem solvers. Oh, my goodness. The new Democrat coalition did not come out in favor of Nancy Pelosi's bill. And finally, this morning, Mnuchin said the absolute incredible words, I'm supporting the problem solvers bill, the bipartisan problem solvers bill, adopting the policy of the Purple Power. This was categorically incredible. And what he said was, I'm going to be offering later this Wednesday afternoon to Speaker Pelosi a counter offer to her $2.2 trillion bill, and I think that she'll like it. It will basically be a problem solvers bill. That was then. I went to record, and then the hours that unfolded thereafter between 1 o'clock Pacific Standard, well, about 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time and 2:30 Pacific Standard Time, Pelosi came out and said, I reject his offer. I reject him. Basically the same thing she has said since July. I reject anything exactly what I want. Unless you give me exactly what I've demanded since July, I am not moving a penny. Well, she didn't move a penny, and she said, I reject you. And we're calling for a House vote tomorrow on the House of Representatives floor for a vote on Thursday for my bill, and the Democrats will pass it. Well, I told you to get on social media and make it very clear, once again, what you have been making clear for over a week. If you're a Democrat or you're a Republican in the House and you vote in favor of her horrible $2.2 trillion bill, we will make a note of what your vote was, and we will make sure that you are gone in the fall election. We will vote you out and endorse the challenger and make sure any incumbent that voted for the $2.2 trillion bill and did not vote for the problem solvers bill, that you'll be gone. Shortly after we did that, the problem solvers came out with their own message, which was, we categorically disagree with Speaker Pelosi's position to end negotiations and to call for a vote. And we urge them to continue to negotiate. You see how this sort of started to unravel for her again. Suddenly her position, which had been manifested in a press release, well, actually a press statement by her office and Drew Hamill on Monday, that she was going to introduce her bill and she's going to call for a vote and then she's going to leave. Sort of like a threatening way of talking to people. Well, when she tried it again today, the problem solvers fired back with a tweet right away, said, no, you better not leave. We're not leaving. You can leave. And we do not support an end of negotiations. That was then. And so once again, she backtracked and she said, oh, well, I'll negotiate a little bit more in the next 24 hours. And I won't call for a vote on Thursday. Maybe I'll call for a vote on Friday. And that's where we sit tonight. as tonight, the pressure is intensely building up. Now, if you believe that, I can't even say this with a straight face, if you believe that Mitch McConnell is the voice of reason, which apparently maybe he has become, he says that this is all much of antics and manifestation of false character. That Nancy Pelosi is basically trying to save face and look like she's accommodating, that basically is going to do nothing in the next 24 hours and is just going to repeat the same thing she's repeated every single day since the month of July. And she will call a vote on Friday and say basically, that letter that's after E and then U. Yeah, that's basically what he's saying she's going to do to America. And he may be very right. I got to tell you that you have to remember that Nancy Pelosi asked for Mitch McConnell to be excluded from the negotiations, asked for Mark Meadows to be excluded from the negotiations, and said she would only negotiate with Steve Mnuchin, on the premise that she could bully Steve Mnuchin to come to exactly her dollar figure of 2.2, 2.4, which she has mentioned every single day since the month of July. Well, today's September, 30th? And Steve Mnuchin did not move an inch. Now let's understand where we are with this insanely $2.2 trillion bill. She is holding out now for $500 billion, which is 2 years of grants for Andrew Cuomo and Gavin Newsom instead of 3 years of grants. She's holding out to give a salary raise to the Department of Treasury, salary raise to the Department of Copyrights and Trademark, salary raise to the parks. She's thrown out your hazard pay. She's cut your hazard pay. She's thrown out your $1,200 dependent check. She's thrown out multiple checks, which the Palm Solvers was going to give you. She's literally thrown out everything you needed to give big raises to her buddies in the government. It's insane. It's categorically insane. And we don't have Steve Mnuchin reacting to that. We do have him reacting to state and local. But it's like, there's a reason why the bill's $2.2 trillion. It's not because of stimulus checks. It's not because of FPUC. It's not because of rent. It's not because of FPUC retroactive. It's not because it's $600 a week versus $400 a week FPUC. It's because of salaries. When did salaries go into a stimulus package? When did money for the parks, the national parks, go into a stimulus package? The parks were closed during the pandemic. They weren't operating during the pandemic. Frontline workers, Uber and Lyft drivers, hazard pay, grocery store workers, pharmacists, truck drivers, all my real hardcore people who worked during this pandemic, frontline workers. You're the essential workers who worked during the pandemic, and she doesn't want to give you a penny. She doesn't want to thank you. That's the most undemocratic democratic position I've ever heard. It's almost, it's almost Republican over there. It's so stingy. She doesn't want to give you multiple checks. Miss Harris and Mr. Sanders out of Vermont and out of California wanted to give you $2,000 every month for 6 months until the pandemic improves or until the COVID goes down. And in fact, to do that would not cost that much money. It wouldn't cost a lot of money. Instead, what is she doing? She's giving grants to everyone in the government and salary raises everyone in the government. So as we sit here tonight, I could rant about how bad her bill is, but I think you got the point at this point. What I want you to understand is you've done incredible progress. It is all because of you and what you've done with the purple power that we've gotten to this point. Ultimately, this woman may, in her rose-colored glasses, false narrative environment, put this bill to a vote on Friday. But it would be an incredible achievement of the purple power if we got Democrats to not vote for it. If we got Republicans not to vote for it. If we got people to say, no, you made a mistake. This was not the bill we wanted. You put a thing to a vote which we did not want, and we summarily don't support it. It would be an incredible achievement. But for now, our focus is on executive orders. In the next 24 hours, two things will happen. One, we will know whether or not this bill is dead. We will know whether legislatively stimulus packages and stimulus checks and stimulus relief is dead until at least November. That's the first thing. But second, we will refocus our brain cells on executive order. The real focus of this channel going forward is executive order. The president has the authority to do executive order, should do executive order, has the money to do executive order, has a lot of funds to do executive order, and it's the relief that seems logical. You know, I got to tell you, there's been a couple people through this process that have been sort of wacky, and there's been a couple people that seem sort of illogical. And the wacky people have been Mitch early on, where he called you, you know, getting rich off the American dollar and not wanting to work and all those horrible things he said about you. And then there's been her, you know, the Temple Do. Every day is like wacko wacky. It's just like, okay. But Steve Mnuchin has not appeared wacky. His positions have been very clear. His positions have been very sensible. Larry Kudlow has been wacky with numbers, but when you get him to the substance of the matter, he said, I want stimulus checks, I want enhanced unemployment benefits. He does start sentences where we don't need something, but it would help if we have it. And Pete Navarro has said, you know, just get the damn money out. You know, Pete Navarro is, unfortunately, that's not his department. I wish it was, because he's just like, send out the damn money. It's like, what are you all doing? He's, of course, you know, a little bit rambunctious. And then there's Meadows, who has said, you know, I want to do stuff. But Meadows has been sometimes much of a sponge in this whole discussion. So the focus going forward is to really understand that legislatively everything could just sort of miraculously come together tomorrow, but I'm not going to give you any opinion about the situation. If you want to hear opinion, turn to the video after this one. You know, in days like this, that I really, really do hope you understand how much I care for you, and how much I really try to protect you from understanding what are facts and what are not opinions. Nothing in this video was an opinion. It was a fact, because I did not tell you, I think it's going to pass tomorrow. There's a sense, I have a feeling. I just, you know, I had some coffee and I just thought I had a feeling. No, I'm not doing that for you. You can do that for yourself. In the next video, yeah, on the next video, I'll fully say I'm going to do opinion for a short period of time. But I want you to know the facts. And the facts are, this can be done by executive order. The push for social media has worked. The push to make it very clear to the congressional leaders that we're not going to do this has worked. And I wish I had all this to say and more. I want you to understand that there's two things to do going into today till Friday. And of course, tonight is Wednesday night. One, I want you to continue to remain focused on executive orders. We will continue to push with the president. That will be the focus of this channel going forward. Push with the president to get stimulus checks. Push with the president to get FPUC. Push with the president to get anything and everything that we're entitled to fast. And it can be gotten within 10 calendar days. And that's incredible, great news. That's the first thing we're going to focus on. And we'll expand our pushing beyond just Meadows and Mnuchin and the president. We'll find more Twitter people that are really core to the discussion that should hear this narrative. Next, we're going to, in the next, you know, this is Wednesday, between now and Friday, we're going to do our final push, if this is the final push, legislatively. So continue to push the problem solvers, continue to push the blue dogs, continue to push the new Democrat coalition, say, get the problem solvers bill to a vote. I got to tell you, a lot of people keep on asking me the same question. I don't have the answer. I don't understand why. I personally tweeted the problem solvers, hey, call me. Let's chat, problem solvers. Come on, let's chat. Why have the problem solvers not introduced this as a Senate bill? A lot of people keep on asking me, why are the problem solvers not introduced as a Senate bill? As you sit here tonight, I want you to understand the problem solvers has not produced this to a bill on any floor. So it's really unclear why they're pushing the narrative by not introducing things on a floor. You know, if they don't want to do it, then so be it. We have that. The other thing that I want you to push is the seats for stimulus. That if these congressional leaders really think they're going to vote on a bad $2.2 trillion bill on Friday and fly back to their districts to get reelected and sit back between now and November and not see us and do nothing for us. Oh, no. We're going to start a whole effort of this channel and a whole effort of recordings to document each and every one of them that did not vote on behalf of the problem solvers and vote in favor of this horrible bill, and make sure that they are not reelected. We remain focused, we remain positive, we remain optimistic. It's a very confusing day with a lot of twists and turns, and I apologize to the extent that a recording is made at 1, and then Nancy announces something at 2, and then I have to edit something into the bottom of the frame to say 2 p.m. Nancy rejects deal, and then at 3 she changes it again. Understand that there's a reason why you need to subscribe to this community. By subscribing to this community, go to the front of the channel, subscribe right now. If by subscribing to this community, I have been posting all day long in the community section of this page, which is a textual section. It's words, it's not video. Updates as to what's going on. And so some people have been jumping in the comments, oh, you know, Nancy just did this. Well, yeah, I mean, I put that in the community 2 hours ago. So that's a way for me to really get you information between recordings. It's also a way for me to share images for you to download and post onto Twitter. I'll continue to make more images. We'll continue to push. Also like this video because, boy, who would have thought that this channel would have turned into this? I mean, it's absolutely categorically incredible. Let's continue the push. We're not over, and we're going to get through it together. Coming up next is Purple Power. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay if I like.